popcorn and you need a bottle of water. If you are not with them, go and get them. It is about to be hot here. It is transformational. Let me apologize for coming late. Yes, it was for 7 p.m. but things happened and it's now 8 p.m. an hour late. I sincerely apologize and I take responsibility for it. Now, this is a class that will help you move your struggling learner from struggling to performing beyond beyond your wildest imagination. Again, you need to get your writing materials. Remember, I said the first 10 people are going to be part of an exclusive class where we are going to self-motivation. So what you want to do, the first thing I want you to do for me to know if you are one of the first 10 people, is to leave in the comment section that I am not settling. I refuse to accept mediocrity. Yes, I refuse to accept mediocrity. I refuse to accept mediocrity. Now, I am not saying your child is a mediocre. No, don't get me wrong. I am only saying that, hey, if my child is performing below expectation, I refuse to take it. And I also want you to refuse to take it. So you want to leave in the comment section that you refuse to accept mediocrity. Now, at the end of this class, I promise you, all you need to do is to take action. I always tell parents around me that it is one thing to actually learn, is another thing to take action. So if you are not ready to take action, you are not going to get results. But as long as you are going to take action, you are going to get results. And guess what? It's not something difficult. Nah, you don't need all day to actually take action to put what I'm about to teach you this evening into practice. No, all you need is just like 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, and you are going to move your child from struggling to learn to be the top where he deserves and desires to be. So now, one of the things we always do as parents, one of the things I did for a very long time, is to rely on teachers. We always rely on teachers to deliver. That was one of the things I did. Class teachers, I rely on class teacher to deliver. And when my son was still struggling, I relied on extra tutor. I had extra tutor, the first one, I had the second one. You know, we rely on private teachers to deliver, or class teachers. Let me tell you something. As a parent, you hold the key to unlock your child's potential more than the class teachers, more than the private tutors. It may seem, oh, the private tutors, they are specialized in teaching children. No, what I am going to teach you today, you are going to realize that it's actually in your hands to help your child move from that struggling stage to that stage where they are going to perform beyond expectations. See, the teacher, the average teacher, the average school does not have the system, to actually move your struggling learner from where they are to where you want them to be. They don't have the system. It's not because they don't want to. They don't have the system. That is the simple truth. So if you want your child to move from where your child is struggling to where you want your child to be, you need to take the bull you need to take the bull by the horn. Let me share something with you. Some time ago, in my children's school, they were going to have a program, an in-house program. It was just about the children and the staff, just about them. So they wanted to make it fun for them. So they asked them to come forward and volunteer to partake in any of the activities. So a particular child, a boy, wanted to be part of the cultural dance. And so he came out, he joined them, he rehearsed or something like that with them. So when it was time for them to dance, to actually do the display, the boy was dropped. So the boy was not happy, he was demoralized. He got home and he told his mom about it. So it was the PTA meeting, the mom came forward and the mom was talking about how demoralized his son was, how his son was dropped and all of that. And guess what the school responded? The school told him that, see ma'am, we use the best to represent us. So if you want your son to represent us in any activity, what you want to do is to groom him at home. groom your children at home, and when they are the best, they can represent us. I know somebody will say, oh my God, this is not about this is not academic, this is something else. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. I know teachers are here, or teachers will watch this video, but the truth of the matter is teachers, schools, they glory on the stars. That is what they shine with the stars. They don't have the structure, the system to actually bring. It is not as if they don't want to. The system does not allow. The system does not. It does not allow for it to happen. I will tell you. You will learn more about it as we progress. And now let's even look at it. Let's be realistic. Let's call a spade a spade. A teacher, an average teacher, has up to 15, let's say 10 students in their class. I went to a school, I was wanting for my children. I went to one school and I asked them how many they were. They told me they were about 24. I said, well, that's a number. And the teacher told me that, the HM told me that when they are 30, they will split them. That is 30 before they will split them. Now think about it. A teacher has, let's say, almost 30 children in her class or in his class. This teacher is going to give homework. Let's even look at that. This teacher gives homework. It simply means they give more than one homework a day. 1, 2, 3. Some even give more than 3. Let's even say they give 2. It simply means that this teacher has how many homeworks to mark? 60 homeworks to mark every day. Now look at it. You know, homework in school is not objective. It's not even JAMA objective. It's usually theory. It simply means that the teacher will have to sit back and read line by line. How long will that take? By the time he or she is done with that, they're already getting tired. And now they go to the board. That is why they go to the board and they copy notes. What they do most of the time is copy on the board. Because they have notes to copy. They have lessons to plan for the following day. So at the end of the day, the system does not allow the teachers to actually impact. It's not as if the teachers don't want to impact, but the system is not designed for your struggling learner. Unfortunately, rather fortunately for the school, fortunately for the teachers, there are children who just have a way of learning. Yes, they are just gifted in different ways, in certain areas. So such children excel, and you begin to wonder, you are in a class, your mates are there. If your mates are learning, why are you not learning? No, every child is not the same. You know, and the school system is not structured to cater for every child, especially the ones that struggle. Now, this is why you have to step in as a parent to help your child. I remember one time I had a private teacher for my child. You know, a friend and I were talking, and we said something. If the school cannot actually help the child, what makes you think that a teacher from that school can even help your child? You know, look at the way they teach. That same way they teach in class has rubbed off on them. So even when they are doing one-on-one, that is the same method they are going to apply. So at the end of the day, the struggling learner keeps struggling, and you are wondering, why is this child struggling? Dear parents, see, you have the potential, you have the keys to actually help your child, and I'm going to teach you this evening, or rather this night, what you can do to help your struggling learner. And again, if you're ready to take action, you are going to get results. If you're not ready to take action, you would have wasted your time, your data, and you would have wasted my time of being here. So I want you to leave in the comment section that you are going to take action. Say, I will take action. Whatever I am learning tonight, I am taking action. And like I told you, it's not something, you are not committing an entire day to it. No, you just have to like 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, and you are good to go. So let me know that you are, drop in the comment section that you are going to take action, and I will be so happy. So hallelujah. Let's go. Now I know that it's not all about, yes, that's the truth. It's not all about the child making A's in class. Nah, no one has ever said academics is everything. Character has a role to play. We know that very well. What is academics without character? The child needs character to sustain the academics. So it's not all about academics, really. I remember one time one of my son's teachers, in a bid to console me, was telling me that her husband made a second class offer in the university, and her husband is struggling. They are barely feeding from hands to mouth. Meanwhile, her husband's friend, who made a third class, has a fantastic job and he is very comfortable with his family. So we know that it is not all about academics really, but we also know that academics is very important. One of the things I always say, your child needs self-discipline to be able to succeed in academics. That is true. Now, when they are able to apply that self-discipline in their study, in the things they do, their study is the hustle they have. Your children, they are their age, their academic, their studies, it is hustle they have. Now, if they are able to be self-disciplined with their academic, you know that you already have raised self-disciplined children who are also going to be able to show self-discipline in their careers in life. So, yes, it's not all about academics, but definitely academics is advantageous. We know that it gives them competitive edge. We cannot even talk about that enough. In a world that we know that, what I would like you to note, people who excel in school, who do well in school, who have A's, they get scholarships, yes, they get recognition, they get international opportunities. We know about Chimamanda Adichie, yes, how she got scholarship and how she is where she is today, and a lot more. You know, we know that academics is not, even though we are saying, oh, it's not all about academics, someone who made it. Yes, sorry, that was network hitch. We also know that academic is very advantageous. In fact, if you are watching this and now, you can drop in the comment section you want my slide, and I will give it to you. You drop in the comment section that you want my slide. At the end of you want my material rather. I'm using here. So at the end of the class, I am going to share it with you, so you can learn more about the advantages of having our children excel in school. With leadership, yes, you know how they just stand out, how people usually pick them for leadership. We know about respect and recognition, so there is no excuse for us to say, oh, it's not all about academics. I'm not saying it's all about academics, it's certainly not all about academics, but academics have a great role to play, and we cannot take that away from the child. Now let's go into what I want to teach you. How to help your child excel in school. Now this is what we are doing today, especially your struggling learner. How to help your struggling learner excel in school. The first thing I would like you to know is that if you have a child who is struggling, if you have like 3-4 children who are struggling in school, they are not struggling. Okay, let me start by explaining. There are stages of success, different stages that all come together to make academic success. We have the understanding. The child has to understand. We have the retention. The child has to be able to retain what they are learning. And we have the retrieval. The child has to be able to retrieve what they have learned. When you teach a child, the child understands that the tendency that the child can retain. When the child retains it, then the tendency that the child can retrieve. Now, if a child does not understand in the first place, what are they going to commit to memory? It simply means that they are going to, what are they going to retain rather? It simply means that they rely on memorization. So if a child doesn't have anything that they have retained, what are they going to retrieve at the end of the day? So that these are the 3 stages. These are the 3 stages. Your child should be able to understand, retain, and retrieve. Retrieval either through application, or through test or anything. Now, when you have a child who is struggling in school, it is not one case all the time. It's either the child is struggling with understanding, the child is struggling with retention, or the child is struggling with retrieval. These 3 things are the problem. Now, for my son, one of my major focus was understanding. And remember the teacher in school telling me that I teach, after teaching, he will say he understands. Even the teachers that came home, I always tell them, make him understand, make him understand. Even when I took courses, I took both paid and free courses because I really wanted to help him seriously. And all I focused on was understanding. But guess what? I realized that understanding wasn't his problem. His issue, his struggle was retention. Are you getting me? So your child may be struggling with understanding. Your child may not be struggling with understanding. Your child may be struggling with retention. Your child may not be struggling with retention. Your child may be struggling with retrieval. You need to understand what your child is struggling with. Now, this is the first thing you need to do. This is the first assignment I am giving you. What is your child struggling with? If you don't know what your child is struggling with, you will not know how to help your child. Just like me, that I was focusing on understanding. When my child was not struggling with understanding, you are going to focus on the wrong thing. I have 3 children. If my son doesn't fail first shot or fails a test or something, I know he did not retain it. My daughter, if she has struggled with a test or something, I know she never understood it. When my last born, who is 6 years old, I'm still understanding him, but so far I know his own can be retrieval. So your children can actually struggle for 3 different reasons. That is the very number one thing you need to understand. What is your child struggling with? Is it understanding? Is it retrieval? Is it, what is it called? What is it? Is it retention? You need to understand that. Now, for some children, their struggle is understanding. They find it hard to understand. They are blank at the end of the day. And if a child does not understand, he has nothing to produce because he has not learned. Now, teaching happens in an order. That is the truth. From basics to complex. The basic is introduced and it is built upon. Now, if a child doesn't understand the basic, when it comes to the complex issues, your child is going to struggle. It is what happens in most cases. Let me give you a practical example to drive in understanding. You see, in math especially, I will see adults to talk about it today. In math especially, you see the author of a math textbook, they give example, and the teacher comes forward and the teacher explains that example. At the end of the day, the author now gives further problems. You see that these children, at the end of the day, they cannot answer all the questions the author has given. They will say, the teacher gave a simple example and gave us a difficult question, or the author gave a simple example and gave a difficult example. It is because they did not understand the basics, because the author expects the teachers to explain to the children to the extent that they understand. If they understand the basic principles, they are going to apply it to answering other questions. But because they do not understand, that understanding was not there at all from the onset, now they get stuck. Children, one way for you to know a child who doesn't understand, who struggles with understanding, is they know to the extent you have taught them. They are not able to apply beyond what you have taught them. So now this is why they can answer the questions that are similar to the examples you have given. They are not able to answer further questions because what they did was not understanding. What they did was just kind of memorization. So you know memorization. So when it stops, it stops. That is what happens. So if a child doesn't understand, they cannot go forward. So you want to understand. If, for example, if a child doesn't understand the basics from the start, they cannot go forward. So again, you want to ask yourself, does my child struggle with understanding, or my child struggles with retention or retrieval? The truth of the matter is, for the average struggling child to understand, the explanation has to make sense to him. Now, this is where I'm coming to. If your child struggles with understanding, how do you help your child? Because this is about helping our children. The first thing is for you to be aware of your child's struggles. If you know me, you know that I'm big on root cause. I always tell you find the root cause. Find the root cause. What is the root cause? Now, the first thing is for you to understand your child's struggle. Is my child struggling with understanding? If you join me, please leave in the comment section anything that will make me know that you were one of the first 10 people to join me, so that you can benefit from our exclusive class that focuses on how to help our children build or develop or enhance their self-motivation towards academics. So just leave a comment, leave a like for me, leave a comment, and please share this video. Share on your timelines, share on your statuses, share to groups and communities you know people will benefit from it. I want as many people as possible to benefit. See, I just had to like come up with a different video. I actually set up, that's the truth. I set up where I wanted before, and then I had a call, the call interrupted. While I was trying to sort that out, noisy, I had to bring it to come to another place where the noise can be minimized. So if you started with me before, you realize that it is not the same background. I had to come to a different place where the noise will be minimized. So I sincerely apologize to you. So I am saying that the first thing you want to do is that if your child struggles in school is because they don't understand. It seems they label them as slow learners. Children who don't understand at first easily, they call them slow learners. That is what. So what do you want to do? They are not slow learners because I don't know how to explain. Like I explained at the beginning, the school system is not structured to serve them. It's not structured to help them. The teacher do you know how many topics they have in a day? So do you know how many topics they have in a term to teach? How many topics they have? I think they have up to like 12 to 13 topics, which means they're supposed to take a topic every week. And sometimes, let's say for example, they're teaching a particular topic like energy. Energy has branches here and there. So the teacher has time limits to teach all these topics within a short time, plus the workloads they have. Plus, remember the teachers are human beings. Remember, in a typical Nigeria where this class is happening, where the teacher wakes up in the morning, the teacher takes 1,000 naira to and from school, that's my transport, and they get to the bus stop and they tell them going to school alone is 1,000 naira. The teacher gets to school and they are thinking, oh my God, how do I go back home? Who do I ask for money? They have their own children. Oh, how do I feed my child tomorrow? And it is just, that is their own personal issues they are struggling with. Then the workload again. Then the salary that doesn't take home. So that is why the school system, telling this one in Nigeria, is not structured. It's not structured to help the struggling learners. Of course, except you have a school where you just have one child to a teacher. Even at then, you are the parents, you know your child best. You know their strengths, their weaknesses, you know what motivates them, you know what inspires them, you know their aha moments and the rest of them. So you are in the best position to help your child. So let's go back to talking about the stages. And we were talking about understanding. I've identified the three stages of learning. Before learning can take place, the child has to understand, the child has to retain, and the child has to be able to retrieve. Now, if you have a child, you need to understand your child is slow in school or is falling behind. You want to know what stage is my child struggling? Is my child struggling with understanding? Is my child struggling with retention or retrieval? Now, we are focused on understanding yet. Now, if your child is struggling with understanding, how do you help this child? Let me tell you something. The easiest way for you to help your child that is struggling with understanding is to bring life to what you are teaching. To bring life to what you are teaching. That is the easiest way for you to understand. If your child is struggling with understanding, it's possible that your child does not understand abstract concepts and anything that is abstract. You want to make it realistic. So as a parent, first thing you want to do, identify your child's struggle stage. Is my child struggling with understanding? Yes. So what do I want to do? You want to make him understand. Focus on understanding, helping him understand. And one of the ways you can do that, like I said, is to let it make sense to them. Demystify every topic. So when you get back, when your child gets back from school, bring his notebook, bring his homework, take his exercise book, look at the topic he has learned. How do I bring life into this topic? I remember when my son, my kids were learning about, my daughter rather was learning about part of speech. So learning about verb and all of that. She got back from school and all she knew about verb was an action word. Verb was an action word. Verb was an action word. Now remember I said if my daughter is struggling, if my daughter falls short in it, it's because she doesn't have an understanding. So verb is an action word and she could only limit it to what she was taught in school. Verb is an action word, is a doing word, is a doing word, is a doing word. So when I tried to broaden it, she wasn't getting it. What did I now do? I now decided to bring life into it. When you say doing what do you mean? You are doing something. It doesn't have to be just the examples we were given in class. Doing something. For example, somebody is driving. So we are going on the road. I say he's driving. Driving. What is this man doing? Say driving. What part of speech is that? She will say what is it called? Verb. That was it. What are you doing right now? I am sitting. What is that doing? I am painting. What is that doing? I am playing. Bring life into it. That is how you can teach your child. Let's go to numeracy, for example. It's about problems. Numeracy, that's mathematics, is about word problems, solving problems. So I remember when my son was learning about areas, talking about perimeter and areas of angles and things like that. What did I do? I had to lay things on the table. We're talking about the parameter of the table. Here is it. We're talking about the area of the table. Here is it. Parameter is just the four sides, while the area is the entire surface. That's the area. When we talk about, we went to a large field. The area, we're talking about the area of this. When somebody say, okay, I live in this area, this entire neighborhood, is this neighborhood I live here? We won't talk about the parameter. We're not talking about the entire neighborhood now. We're talking about the four corners, rather the corners of the neighborhood. That is one way you can teach your child who struggles with understanding. Bring life into it. Reality. It is the simplest way for you to teach them to understand. Now, every other strategy to teach them is all about helping them retain. Reality, bring it to life. Talking about friction, for example, in science, I'm talking about friction. It doesn't make sense to them. Then you now come back home, you are driving your car, you get to a place that is a sandy, that is rocky, that you cannot drive smoothly. You let them know this is the friction we are talking about. Friction is such objects from moving. Now you are going on a slope, you realize that you see there is no friction here. Friction, that is it. It's easy for them to learn. They learn it because why? It is making sense to them. So if you have a struggling learner, a child who struggles with understanding, let it make sense to them. And these things are not very difficult. All you need to do as a parent is to note the topic. Once you note the topic, begin to look for things you can use to teach them. They are always available in our everyday life. What you need, that's why I told you that it's not going to take you more than 20-30 minutes every day. You just bring their textbook. What did you learn today? You learned about, like my son, he is in JSS1. He learned about civic education. So the first topic there is definition of civic education and the importance of civic education. So what are we doing? We are looking at it, talking about, learning about, I had to talk about civilians. I had to talk about, what is it called? Civil society. I talk about even civil war, all those things. Just let it make sense where the word civic is coming from. Of course, he knows the meaning of education. By the time you understand where the word civic is coming from and he knows the meaning of education, it is easy for him to say, oh, okay, so if you civic education, so since they are civilians, about your rights and all of that, and if you don't know your rights, you can demand for your right to be respected now. It's easy. You can demand accountability from the government. It's easy. You can also understand other people's rights. It's easy because you have helped them to make sense. So if your child is struggling with understanding, please help them to make sense. And again, it is not difficult. Just know the topic. Be committed to it. As a parent, know the topic. Every time they learn something in school, just know the topic. As you are going about, teach them every moment. Weekends, we are home together, take advantage and teach them. That is the first one. Please, if you are getting something, let me know you are getting something. Drop in the comment section, like, just give me a like, and please share. Share to benefit other parents. Just don't come and share. I really appreciate if you share the link on your statuses, on your timelines, on your stories, on your handles and everywhere. Please share so that more parents can benefit. So I've talked about understanding. Now the next stage is retention. Now this is where very many children struggle. Retention. They don't retain it. If you are a teacher and you agree with me, I'm not seeing the likes. Please like. Let me see like, please. Trigger YouTube to share this, to have more people watch this video, please. So this is where many children struggle. So if you're a teacher and you agree with me that after teaching in class, you ask children, do you understand? They will say, yes, ma'am, yes, Miss Loretta, we understand. Ask them 5 minutes later. Even the ones that can answer 5 minutes later, ask them the next day. They do not remember. They do not remember. So one of the struggles very many children have is retention. That is the struggle of my son. Retention. They are not able to remember after the class. Retention. So you need to understand, what is your child struggling with? Is it understanding or retention? If your child is struggling with retention, let me even give you one expo. If your child is struggling with retention, there's every likelihood that your child is going to struggle with spelling. Yes. So especially spelling of sight words. Sight words, they are not like irregular. Okay, let me also give you an example. For if your child is struggling, if your child is a good speller and your child is struggling in school, there's every likelihood that what your child struggles with is understanding. Surely if your child is good at spelling sight words and your child is falling short of math, of other subjects, just know that your child is struggling with understanding. That basic foundation for understanding that particular subject or understanding has not been laid. Your child is struggling with understanding. That is why your child can easily spell, they don't know anything, they struggle so much in school. Understanding. So if your child, when it comes to spelling, if your child struggles with spelling, just know that if your child is struggling with school, generally you know that there's a possibility that what your child is struggling with is retention. So how do you help a child who is struggling with retention? Now this is another very easy peasy. What you want to do, there are so many ways you can help your child who struggling with retention. There are so many ways. You can use association. People learn by association. That is very true. Very, very easy. Association. You begin to associate one thing. Association. You can begin to use what do they call these devices? Different devices in I remember when I was growing up, there was one word I always struggled to spell, exercise, like exercise book. I always struggled to spell exercise. Until one day, I think somebody said, Eze times Eze, rice customer is selling Eba. Till today, that is how I spell exercise book. If I don't say Eze times Eze, rice customer is selling Eba, please write in the comment section, write Eze times Eze for me. Eze times Eze. The times is X. Rice customer is selling Eba. If I don't say that, I am not going to spell exercise. So there are so many ways your child who struggles with retention can actually learn to retain, by association, by visual, by appealing to their sense, and a lot. However, the easiest way I want to show you is repetition. Now, this is how children learn. People learn repetition. If your child is struggling with retention, you want to use repetition to have your child retain it. The more they practice, the more it sinks in. The more they practice, the more they learn. Repetition. is how your child, that is, there are every other tricks you can use, but the truth of the matter is, even with other ways you can use, you will still realize that you need repetition. Repetition. So how do you do this? Let me show you what I have done. Because I actually had to move location, I just left some of the things because time was going. I left some of my material there. I brought some of my children's materials. This is what I came up with. For every topic they are taught, I create flashcards. I either use a cardboard paper to, you can see I have a lot of these. They are old books. I tear the ones that they don't use. I either use cardboard paper or I use this thing, which is for our flashcard, or we have cartons to use it. For every topic they are taught in school, we take the nugget points from it, the nugget points, the salient points. We take it and we just write them out in flashcards. We write them out. The idea is so that it becomes handy, it becomes fun, it becomes easy for them to go through over and over again. They don't have their bulky notes to go through again. So it's not like reading is boring to them. They have these flashcards, they have envelopes, they put their flashcards. After their revision, our family time is now for that flashcard. We kind of play games with it. The flashcards are in a box, you bring them out, you pick anyone, the child explains as much as they can, you explain it back to them. In the morning, if you are driving them to school or while they are preparing or something, they have 5 minutes time left or 10 minutes, they pick any of the flashcards and they answer. It's not like serious reading thing. You also encourage them, when you get to school, you are less busy. Pick your flashcard, turn it into a game, ask your classmates to come over, read up everybody, pick anyone, answer it. Now what I do is, for each of the nugget point or salient point on the flashcard, it is duplicated. It is not just one. So you can have a particular question or nugget point repeating up to 3-4 times in different flashcards. So imagine if they actually get to school, we are going to come to motivation and discipline because it's part of it. Your child has a role to play too. Remember now when they get to school and they have like 3-4 friends around them and they pick flashcards and maybe they say, what is civic education? This one talking about civic education. Another person picks that talks about civic education. They are repeating it playfully in a fun way. They keep repeating it over and over and over again. If your child struggles with retention, no matter how much they struggle with retention, they are going to be able to retain it because they are repeating it over and over again. And you encourage them, this is about you. So you need to be committed to it. When you get to school, you do it. Even before you go to bed, you do it. During weekends, after all the fun and everything, bring out your flashcard and repeat them. And here is what we do for my kids. After each week, they change topics. So when they are done, till the next topic is introduced. So when the next topic is introduced, those first flashcards, we are not trashing them. We dump them inside a box. So when it's weekend, the flashcards are mixed together. So they are picking random ones and they are answering. They may not be able to exhaust everything. We just pick random one, they are discussing. So it simply means that if they have like 12 weeks in a term, it simply means that each flashcard is going to be repeated more than 12 times. So if your child has learned something 12 times, what do you think will happen? It will retain in your child's brain. Because retention, like I said, is one of the reasons children struggle. So if your child is struggling with retention, for very many children, it is retention they are struggling with. And guess what? Let's be realistic. Very many of the subjects they are doing, very many of the topics they are doing, they are memorizing them. It is the simple truth. Very many subjects they are doing, it's all about memorization. They don't yet understand them. So it's about memorization for them, your younger children, your older children. It's about memorization. And guess what again? Schools, they rely more on memorization for these children than understanding. forget what they say. They rely more on memorization. You go to school, see a teacher and children learning, children learning 2 times table, 3 times table. They are reciting it when they're supposed to be teaching them number sense, so that they will be able to understand these things without recitation. They will be able to understand them now on their own. No, they recite them. What about they ask them to write from number 1 to number 2000? So it's just memorization these children are doing. They are just, even for very many children also, who will think, oh, this child is good. What they do is they memorize. For very many children, they also memorize. It's not about understanding. So you will need to work on your child's ability to retain. That is one of the things you need to work on your child's ability to retain. Once you can work on your child's ability to retain, every other thing follows. And the way you can work on your child's ability to retain, like I've explained to you, is for you to leave them to practice. Practice through flashcards. That is my secret I've shared with you. Practice through flashcards. Practice again and again through flashcards. Let's go to the last one. It is retrieval. Now, this is also very common. You see children. Now, let me give you a practical example. Now, children who struggle with retrieval are the kind of children who, let's say, they get to school. Maybe they are facing a test exam, for example. They don't do well. They come home and you realize that they answer those same questions very well. A question in school they were only able to answer 4 out of 10. They get to the answer 8, 9 out of 10. That child is struggling with retrieval. Now let me explain further. Let me wrap up with this movie, Akeelah and the Bee. I don't know if you've seen Akeelah and the Bee before. If you've not seen Akeelah and the Bee, it's an old movie. I think it should be over 20 years or thereabouts. Go and see it with your children. If you've seen it before, please write it in the comment section, Akeelah and the Bee. Just write it, I've seen the movie Akeelah and the Bee in the comment section. In that movie, you realize that when Akeelah was learning how to spell, the coach will teach her origin of words, not just her, all the children. That was how they learned. If you watch the competition, you see them there. When they are struggling to spell a word, you ask them origin, using the sentence, part of speech, and all of that. Why were those necessary? Asking for the origin of the words was to help them understand, because not every word is originally English language. Some words are actually French, Hebrew, Greek, and what have you. So when these children understand the origin and all these the origin of the words, they actually have their spelling rules. So when these children understand, oh, this word is not an English word, this word is probably a French word, they understand to apply the French rule for spellings. They apply it to that word, and they are able to spell it. You can see that's understanding. Go to the next one, retention. You see everywhere Akeelah went, Akeelah was practicing retention in the mall, on the street, with the siblings, in school, every single way. Even her enemies, her friends, her classmates that were laughing at her at the initial stage, they were part of those. Even the bad boys on the street, they were all part of those helping her to practice retention. That's what I'm telling you, repetition, retention, practice. And the other thing that happened, I don't know if you've seen the movie, you need to see it. Go and see it. You see that there was a part that actually came to her rescue in the final competition where she was jumping an imaginary rope. You know that her coach taught her to do that. Why did her coach teach her that? If you are still here, please drop in the comment section. If you've seen that part, drop in the comment section. Why do you think her coach taught her to skip rope? What happened was she was saying a particular word, I don't remember, and then a dog was barking in the neighbor's house, and she got distracted. Because she got distracted, a word she already knew, she couldn't retrieve it. At that point, she struggled with retrieval. because of distraction. So if your child is struggling with retrieval, you need to understand why. It may be anxiety, it may be fear, it may be low self-esteem, it may be distraction. Akila struggled with retrieval because she was distracted, and the coach knew that going to the competition, there were so many things that were going to distract her even the more. So the coach had to teach her a strategy to help her overcome distraction when she had retrieval issue. And of course, the strategy came very handy at the end of the day. You could see that she was jumping an imaginary rope because she was struggling with retrieval, and that imaginary rope actually helped her to retrieve it. Now, like I was saying, these are the things you need to do as a parent. However, your child has a role to play. Yes, your child has a role to play, because your child needs to learn your child needs to be self-aware. They need to understand that they have weaknesses and they have strengths. Your child needs more self-motivation and they need self-discipline. Now let's look, and you need to build this in them. You need to teach your child self-discipline. You need to teach them motivation towards them. They need to be, first of all, be motivated. Somebody can be motivated and not disciplined. You know that. People, they don't even know their weaknesses and strengths. They don't even know they can. They don't even know that, the little effort they put in effort. I was telling my children yesterday, coincidentally, my daughter's tap in the bathroom was always dropping water before it came to be fixed. So yes, we were going over this, and I was telling her, when your tap was dropping water, we had to put a bucket under it. By the following morning, when we wake up, what happened? She said the bucket was full. I told her, I said, that is what happens. That is a little effort. I said, if the tap was not dropping water, you put bucket under. The following morning, what happened? She said it will be dry, not to be inside. I said, that's exactly it is. You see, that little effort you put in here and there every single time you practice, every single time you use your flashcards in practice, what happens? You are increasing your capacity. Before you know what is happening, it is full. So your child has to be self-aware. Now, you have a role to play. You want to help build his understanding, want to help build his retrieval, want to help build his retention. Your child has to be aware that they have a role to play. They need to put that their little effort, at the end of that will amount to something, the big results. You need to teach your child that. Another thing you need to let your child know that, see, everyone has capacity differently. Another thing I tell my children is, when I meet my children, not just my biological children, my children I teach in school, if you are new here, you're watching for the first time, my name is Enime Orebo, and I work with young school children. I teach them manners, etiquette, sexuality education. We build healthy characters, and of course, we build leadership skills. And of course, I'm a parenting coach, mentor, and consultant at the same time. So when I talk about teaching my children, actually teaching my children in school, one of the things I used to tell them, I used to tell them that, you see, everyone has different capacity. However, we all have this. We are all able, even though we have different capacities. We are able. I always give them this illustration, which makes a whole lot of sense to me. And if it makes sense to you, tell me in the comment section that it makes sense to me. I tell them that, you see, it is like you have 100-liter drums to go and fill, right? You are given a 10-liter bucket to fill that 100 liters. Every one of you in this class, you have a 100 liters drum to go and fill. However, you all have different liters of bucket to go and fill. Some people have 50 liters of bucket to go and fill that 100 liters. Some have 20. The one that has 50 will only go 2 times. At the end of the day, the bucket will be full. The one that has 10 will go 10 times. The drum will be full. The one that has 5 liters, some will still have 5 liters, they will go 20 times, the drum will be full. The one that has 20 liters will go 5 times, the drum will be full. I said, what matters is that the drum is full, not the number of times you go. So what you need to do is you need to know the capacity of the bucket you have. how many times you need to go. Your goal is to fill that drum. So don't look at the person who has 50 days. If you are able to go, if you are self-aware and you are able to go, put in the effort, guess what? You are going to fill that drum just like the person. It will not matter whether you have 50 liters or you have 5 liters. What matters will be you fill the drum successfully. So your child needs self-awareness. Your child needs to be aware of their strengths and their weaknesses. Your child needs self-motivation. I think now everyone should really be in the class, because it was my fault that I take responsibility for not starting as promised. So everyone should be in the class really. So I'll just drop the link to the class in the comment section and everyone can join, and we have the 1 week self-motivation for our children. So they need self-motivation, and finally they can be you can be motivated by effort, and without the right effort you are not getting results. So now if you are a parent and you are here, you are still listening to me, it means you are getting value. And again, I'll appeal to you to share this video, share the link, share everything. And if you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comment section. I am ready. I'll take all your questions. I promise I'm going to take all your questions. Even if I don't finish taking them today, I'm going to take them in within the week. Now, having said all of that, I want to introduce to you the Visionary Parent Academy. The Visionary Parent Academy. Now, one of our goals in the Visionary Parent Academy for 2024 is to help our children move from the place they are to a place they want to be. You know, when a child struggles with understanding, they call the child slow learner. When a child struggles with a retention, they call the child forgetful learner. Slow learner, forgetful learner. Whatever they have labeled your child, no. In 2024, we want to remove that label. We want to reframe your child. No, like I said, I'm not settling for mediocrity. My child is not a mediocre. I'm not settling for mediocrity. Especially when I know that I have the key to unlock my child's potential. So why should I settle for mediocrity? The same thing I want you to do. Don't settle for mediocrity. Just slow learner, forgetful learner, nah. You know, like I said, my child has the capacity, has the ability to actually make the right effort to put them where they want to be. So again, in the Visionary Parent Academy, one of the things we want to do in 2024 is to help our children move from struggling learners to learners who will how do I put it? Who will go beyond anyone's wildest imagination in their performance. Their teachers and schools, everyone will be wild. How did you do it, dear parents? That is our goal. Our goal is not just to help our children excel, and for that we are starting immediately. By next week we are starting, because a new term has started, a new academic session has started. We want to start with our children. We want to start with them already, so that first term, second term, third term, they are just doing what they are doing, their thing, they are excelling, they are going. We want to start with them already. So it's not just all about academics for our children. We also have a lot we do in the parenting academy, in the Visionary Parent Academy. So here are some of the things we do. One of the first things we are going to do, like I told you, we are going to help our children excel in the academic. We are going to set goals. We are going to carry out activities every day to help our children excel in the academics. 2, you are going to understand your child. Understand the very child you have. Understand your child's temperament, love language, and everything. Someone said your child's temperament and love language is actually your child's moon button. You are going to understand all of that. You are going to understand, you are going to master your emotions and become emotionally intelligent, because without emotional intelligence, you cannot raise the child you want to raise. Because one of the very first things we do in the Visionary Parent Academy is to create operating vision. It's to create operating vision. It's to sit back and ask yourself the child you want to raise. And we know that it is not just by saying it. Nah. It's not by saying it. It's by acting upon it. So what we want to do is to, after creating that vision, you need to master your emotions, so that every every single action you are going to take will align with your vision. You can't say you are going to Lagos and take a vehicle that is going to Kano State. You're not going to get to Lagos. So if you have identified, what you want for your child, the child you want to raise, then you need to align your choices, your actions. You need to align them with your vision. That is what we are going to do. So what we are going to do is to make sure that you create your vision, you master your emotions, so that you'll be able to intentionally parent the child in your vision. I said, help our children upscale in their academics, understand your child, emotional intelligence for parents, create your family vision and your family mission, create your family framework and your family constitution, learn how to influence your children so that you can get cooperation from them. You can modify behaviors without breaking a sweat. You can modify behaviors without breaking a sweat. Learn how to get your spouse to be on the same page with you. Yes, learn how to get your spouse to be on the same page with you. It's a daily interaction class. We have daily interactions, we have master classes, we have book reviews, we have research, and a lot more in the Visionary Parent Academy. So 2024, we are officially starting January 2024, but before January, this September, we are already opening. If you register now, if you join us now, you are going to start with us. So it simply means that you are going to have a bonus class. You are going to have a bonus class. You are going to have like September, October, November, December. That's 3 months, Abby. 3 months extra, because we are going to start with our children's academy. Now, registration fee alone is just recharge card money. Recharge card money. Let me see what we have here. Okay, I'm not done. In the academy, we have worksheets, we have templates, we have guides. We will also support you to pick up speaking engagements. Yes, it's very important, because our goal is for you to learn parenting for yourself, not for you to. It's for you to learn parenting for yourself, not for you to be running with every suggestion that you see being thrown on social media, or even rely on parenting coaches or mentors. No, it's for you to learn parenting for yourself. That is our goal at the end of the day. And so you can boldly also talk to other parents about parenting. You can pick up parenting engagements. We support you. We support you to pick up parenting engagements. And we also give you practice opportunities to grow. Yes. We give you practice opportunities to grow. So we have a lot for you, loaded class for you in the Visionary Parent Academy 2024 cohort, and you can register today and start already, so that we can start smashing the goal of helping our children excel in school. Now, our registration is just this is not okay. Our registration is 4,000 naira monthly. 4,000 naira monthly only. That is our registration. If you pay 4,000 naira a month, you are part of the academy. However, if you join the early bird to register for this September, so that they can start with their children, you are only going to pay 3,000 naira. Registration becomes 3,000 naira monthly. That is it. If you are not waiting, if you are waiting till January, it's 4,000 naira. But if you are starting already, it's 3,000 naira. However, note that this registration fee is not paid monthly. It's a one-off. You put it 4,000 naira times 12 months and you pay at once. You put it 3,000 naira times 12 months and you pay at once. That is how we roll. However, if you feel, I don't have that money to pay now, you can make a commitment fee. Pay half the price now and let us know when you are paying the balance. If you pay half the price now and you are paying the full, the remaining price, the remaining half. Sorry, if you pay half the fee now, you pay the remaining half in January. It simply means that you are paying 4,000 naira. If you pay half the fee now and you pay the remaining half before the end of the term, it simply means that you are paying the 3,000 naira. So I hope if you got value from this class, I hope to see you in the class. I hope to see you in the class. I do hope to see you in the class. And like I told you, we have a free 1 week challenge on enhancing your child's self-motivation. So I'll drop the link to the group so that you can join and we enhance our children's self-motivation, because your children need to learn your children need self-motivation to actually play their part in it. And in our class, we are going to learn self-discipline, self-motivation, everything you need to learn about parenting. Like I said, is you learning parenting for yourself. So if you got value from this class, please drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know you got value. Drop a like, drop anything, and do well to share. Invite other parents, let them benefit from this class. Thank you so much, everyone who did this with me today. Again, I apologize for coming late. However, I hope it was worth it. Remember, I said 3 things. Your child may be struggling with retention, understanding, or retrieval, and I have given you everything you need. So if you watch this video again from the beginning to the end, you will see how you can help your child. I also shared how I help my children. I told you my children's struggles and how I help them. I do hope that you find it very valuable and you actually apply, you take action, because it is in taking action you are going to get results. You don't take action, you don't get results. Thank you so much once again for doing this with me today. Hopefully, before the end of the month, we'll have another master class, and I do hope to see you there. Bye-bye.